such a beautiful morning. There's nothing better than grabbing a cup of coffee and coming out into the garden and just relaxing. It's probably our favorite time of the day. I don't have to be at work yet. We don't have anything we have to get done. It's just relaxing. And with the type of work I do, there's nothing better than a reset and just listening to nature. It's just amazing. And what I want to show you guys today is we're just going to kind of do a little bit of a walkthrough and show you guys again some of the things. We're going to start out over here. I want to... We had our mammoth peas growing over here, our snap peas, and they've since it's time to, I pulled them. So we've got an empty little bin here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump the dirt out of it, and probably just, we've got a couple holes over here where our wonderful dogs have decided to dig into the fence. I think they're chasing a mole. If they get the mole, I'm happy. If they don't, it just destroys the yard. At least there'll be some justice in it. So we'll dump this out and kind of just get that prepared. I think we'll probably move it to the other side where it's a little bit sunnier. We kind of talked about that. But these beds are doing just awesome. They really are. We're really happy. A lot of the volunteer plants have come up and they just look super awesome. Doing really good. We didn't plant any cherry tomatoes or saladette tomatoes per se. So we're really kind of excited that we've been given those. And I also want to just show you guys there's a lot of things that you know, as gardeners that we don't do right all the time. You know, and I think when you log in and you start watching and you just think, man, their garden is so gorgeous and everything just looks so perfect. And, you know, the reality is there's a lot of failures and we don't always show you those failures. And so, you know, that's kind of, you'll get to see some of that today. One of the things is we did really well planting the onions and they just, I don't know what we did wrong. It's my first year growing onions on a scale like this. We grew some last year. We had garlic. So I think they needed more sun, and over here it's pretty shaded. But they just didn't get big. We're hopeful that they'll continue to grow a little bit. We're not quite sure what's going to go on. Some of them are okay size, and then others are just, they're really small. So... But everything else is doing well that's over here with the exception of the onions. Volunteer cucumbers. Our cilantro didn't make it. We're so disappointed. The heat, even though it's cooler over here and it's shaded, it just didn't make it through the heat. It's down here. You can see this poor little guy is all but gone. And so it's kind of sad because we were really hopeful we would get and have fresh cilantro when we made salsa, so we may have to replant and just to have some. It won't be a full season's worth, but you know, at least we'll have some. This is the bin I was talking about that I'm gonna take out, and I'll probably just dump the dirt over here and we'll pull this stuff out. And so that's a project we have. It looks like it may rain today. Not quite sure, but it's that time of the year when rain is just so sporadic. You would think we were on the coast with the way our storms are. Because it's just one day there's something, and then the next day there's nothing, and then they're calling for it and it doesn't happen. Maybe you live in a zone like that, I'm not sure. So we will dump this. I'm going to go ahead and dump this now. And I love it. You guys see this? This is totally my son. Anytime there's a tube, he loves to put sticks in it. Like we've got a water irrigation system, and it's got the little finger hole so you can pop the panel up. And every time you open that thing, it's like filled with sticks. Filled with sticks. He just completely fills it. So that is MJ right there. No question. That's awesome. Oh, it's kind of heavy because it's filled with water. do I want to dump it? I think I just want to, you know, actually change of plans. Change of plans. Just because it's heavy. That looks yummy. We have low spots in our fence and armadillos come through all the time. My wife laughs at me because I come out here with a headlamp at night and I hunt them. I haven't done it in a while, but I'm overdue. Maybe I'll take you guys along on one of those trips. I don't know how that would go over with folks because I don't like to kill animals, but when they're destroying, if you have armadillos, you know what I'm talking about. They just destroy yards. Like, it's not even, like, I had no idea prior to moving here what an armadillo really did. And I remember when I first saw them, I like called my sister and my wife out and I was like, oh look, they're so cute. You know, they were in the yard, and little did I know they were like causing me severe damage and money. But this soil, the reason I dumped it out rather than use it, you can probably see inside of here. This was topsoil from a local dirt provider, gravel, soil, dirt. Anyways, and it was their topsoil, but the problem is that it's so clay ridden, and I didn't realize it was like when I first planted some of these raised beds, I was like, let's get some topsoil. It's cheaper, it's good, and it'll work, and we'll amend it. It's just clay ridden, like it's nothing but clay, and unfortunately not really good for it. So now I've switched. I really only use fresh compost, mushroom compost, some potting mix sometimes mixed in, but yeah, it's just, this is terrible. So that's why I'm dumping it and not reusing it. I don't want to use it anymore. It can go back into the grass. It can grow over there. So I will spray that out. We'll get that all cleaned out. We'll get that filled, and I'll show you guys what that's like when I'm done with it. I wanted to show you guys one thing too this morning. Oh, honey, your chamomile looks good. Good. We'll be able to harvest some chamomile. Our fruit trees are doing good. When I sprayed these this year, I swear my wife calls me like right the same day, and she's like, you killed the trees, they're dead. They were showing signs. It's just so wet, as I've shared in many videos, and so they were showing signs of rust, and I wanted to get it treated, and I sprayed this thing, man, and I'm telling you what, like the way it looks now, it's a million times, like it looks like a brand new tree. It was like, it was dead. She goes, the little one, it's done. And I said, no, it'll be fine. And she goes, no, it's dead. And I came home that night, and I remember I rushed out in the backyard, and I was like, oh man, I may have killed this thing. I don't know why it did that. So it's a fruit spray that I've used before for trees, and I don't know. I don't know if it was so young it really affected it. That's where they say test the spray before you spray your whole plant. Definitely didn't do that. Peach trees have done well. We do have to constantly fight these guys, Japanese beetles. If you have those, you know what I'm talking about. They're terrible. So I've seen some damage to the plants. This is what they do. They eat the leaf away. And so what happens is if your leaves are gone, your plant can't take up nutrients. So then what happens? The plant goes ahead and goes after the next thing. Oh, there's two on the back there. Let's try to kill him, at least one of them. The plant, when all the leaves are gone, it will then seek out its next source of sugar and energy. And where is that stored? In the roots. And so what happens then is the plant sucks all the energy out of the roots, and then your tree dies. So you definitely, you know, again, you can't always prevent everything, but if you can get them off while it's still early. We made a mistake, and it was my mistake. You can see we've got some yellowing leaves. I watered them heavily the other day. Probably shouldn't have done that. We've had a lot of rain. And so what I've found is not watering them and leaving them alone. I think I set up a good, we really amended that soil. And so I think I set up a good base for the roots. And so I think we have a good root structure, and they're down deep enough now that we don't have to water the way I was. But you can see we've got a lot of leaf drop. We pulled most of the peaches off. We still have 2. We have 2 on this one. These are first years, so you know, a lot of people say don't let them fruit, whatever. Well, all the others are gone. We have 2, and we just can't pull it off. It looks so good now. Like every morning I look out here and I see it's red, and I'm debating I need to put probably like a net over it, a bird netting or something, because I will be so devastated if a bird gets my peach. Tigger melons, you know, they've got some, I'm going to treat those too. They've got some leaf spot and some powdery mildew. But we've got 3 or 4 Tigger melons. You know, I told my wife, I said, if that's all we get, like, I'm okay with it, because we'll get at least 4. We'd love more, but, you know. So I pulled the one zucchini plant out, you know, and the others are surviving, but you can see here, this here, like anywhere you see these yellow spots, this is a powdery mildew, and if you flip the leaf over, you'll see, you see these white spots here. Sorry, I'm gonna try to, right here. That is not powder that I've put down. As you see, it's not rubbing off. That is actually white powdery mildew. And so we want to get that treated. You want to really remove the leaves and treat the leaves the best as possible. But so as you can see, there's not always our plants. They're really ridden right now with this powdery mildew, and so I want to get them treated. But again, I just want to show you guys it's not always perfect, and you know there's definitely failures amongst our successes. There's that old saying that it's a quote. I'm a big quote person, but success is 99% failure. You know. And so you fail more often in order to succeed, but that's what makes you better. You learn. The pepper plants, I think next year we're not going to do them on this back fence, and we're going to put them in the garden. That'll be the first time I've ever done them in the garden. But we've got so many pepper plants that are in the garden that I planted just sporadically. They're doing great, and so why not? The other thing is we've got some bacterial wilt. You can see here, that's what happens when you get that, and this plant will die. It's dead. So another task I have will be removing all of this dead cucumber vine. That is our, you hear that? That's a horse that barks. Like, no, just kidding, but it's probably the biggest dog I've ever seen.
That's Hudson. Hi, Hudson.
He's not really vicious, I promise.
No, he's a big baby.
I've almost lost my hand twice, but no, I'm just kidding. No, but if you don't know he's there, and sometimes I forget, right? He's there every day, but I forget he's there, and I'll bend down to look at these plants, and he'll just bark, and it will scare the living out of me. I mean, it's hilarious. But if people were watching me, it would be comical. Like, we need to set up a camera out here, a time lapse, and you watch that happen, and I promise you, you'll go crazy. The tomatoes we harvested. We made some sauce yesterday. I don't know, did you get a chance to do a video on the sauce?
I did not.
Oh, that's okay.
It was my first time doing that recipe, so I wanted to try it first.
Yes, that's the thing, guys. We do a lot of stuff where we don't always, and that's why we don't always video, is because we want to make sure that it works and that it's good.
Yeah.
Before we share it with all of y'all. We want to make sure it's a tried and true recipe, or a tried and true process of removing pests or controlling mildew or fungus or whatever it may be, and then we share it with you guys, because I don't want to share something that, again, doesn't work, that doesn't do any good. I don't want you, hopefully you reach out to us and look at our channel to learn things, and not hope we know what we're talking about and then try it and still fail. So, but the tomato plants are doing good. The shade cloth, I think, is working really well. I haven't seen any more blossoms fall off. I was really disappointed with all the ones that we did lose. But as you can see here, there's some. But it's doing well. Look at these. I know we've shown them a million times, but oh my gosh, look at these. Like I'm gonna snap this. Hold on. All right, maybe I'm not gonna snap it. I need to cut that. But look at these. Like, this is called the mortgage lifter tomato. And 100%, like no question, we will absolutely be growing this tomato every year, and I haven't even tasted it. Like I don't even know what it tastes like, but look at it, it can't be bad. So we will be growing it again next year, again, barring that the tomato just absolutely tastes horrible, which I can't fathom that it would. But man, they look great. I actually am contemplating cutting them. I may cut them tonight. I'm really nervous because none of them have split. There's like no issues, so that's why I like kind of want to cut them now. But then part of me is like, no, let them ripen just through today. But if they split, I'm going to be so disappointed in myself. Anyways, that's just kind of a little bit. I wanted to just walk you through the garden and show you some of the things that we are struggling with. By the way, look at that okra. Speaking of winds. Isn't that flower, just get in on that flower. Like, how beautiful is that? That's why I garden. Right there, guys, that's exactly why I garden. Nature is so beautiful. It's just amazing. I mean, it really is. Like, look at that. How beautiful
okra
is
right
that?
there.
That flower is gorgeous.
And I'm sure you saw, if you saw yesterday's video, this okra plant right here was propagated from George Washington's garden.
Was it that one?
Yeah, my tall one here is a descendant of okra plants that George Washington had, which is super cool.
That's old. That's
Yep,
an old run right there.
And
But it's
also,
tried and true.
this fish pepper is a descendant of plants that George Washington had.
I gotta tell you, if you guys have never heard or grown or seen a fish pepper,
because I had never heard of one.
like, do yourself a favor. Like, look, get in here, honey. Let me show you this. Like, you can see one here. The peppers are even variegated. Like,
Yeah.
it is just the coolest
yeah,
thing
the
ever.
leaves are stunning.
And let me rephrase that because it's actually incorrect what I just said. So it's not variegated. What this plant has would be like a rare disease, if you will, or think of it like in human beings and us. You may have a pigment deficiency, right? And so it doesn't mean you're sick or a disease. So that's why I wanted to restate that.
It's just a mutation.
That's a awesome word. Mutation. Sorry, she is definitely my helper when it comes to vocabulary and vernacular. It is a mutation within the plant that causes it to be white and appear variegated, if you will. This plant is just so gorgeous, and it's doing so well. Not really a lot of issues. I've got it planted 3 other spots, I apologize. And so we'll see what happens. But anyways, it's a really cool, I think it's beautiful. We haven't tried the pepper yet, but it's gorgeous. So just for beauty alone as an ornamental plant in the garden, I think I'll probably grow this every year. And hopefully I love the pepper, and then that'll just be a huge perk. So this next year I think we're going to put all into the garden because we'll be slimming down some of the other things. What? Oh, I know. A couple yellows. I think it needs fertilized again. But this is our tomatillo plant. We've got 4 of them in there, and they're doing really well. You can't really tell, but this is completely full. Can you see how I'm squeezing it and it's not going in? Now I'm going to show you guys. I don't want to squeeze too hard because I don't want to mess it up. But like, you see how this squishes?
It has a lot of give to it.
Okay, so the tomato grows within inside of this. So you get this bulge first, like the petal forms over it, grows into a
almost like a sack or something.
A sack, and then the tomato grows within, and it fills it up. And so this one's filled. I'm not sure how much longer I'll let it go. They say you'll start to notice them drop and they're done. I don't know if they're supposed to fall off. This is the first year I've grown tomatillos, so I'm learning as I go with those. But anyways, what time is it? What time do we have here? So, all right, it is 9:54. I gotta kind of wrap it up here. unfortunately I got to go to work. I don't get to enjoy this. Maybe one day I'll be so independently wealthy that I can just stay home all day and just garden. That would be like my dream. But as of now, unfortunately, that's not the case. So thank you guys so much for tagging along. Thank you for continuing to watch our channel and logging in and subscribing and liking our videos. It means absolutely the world to us. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll have a little more time. We may even do something tonight, but I want to show you guys our citrus trees and our fruit trees. Not the ones out here, but the ones that I have that are more rare and like subtropical and tropical, and the greenhouse structure that I built for them. And so we've had a lot of failures with one of them, and so we've had a lot of successes, but I'll show you guys more of that. I want you guys to stay tuned. And the dragon fruit, by the way, is amazing. You guys got to stick around to see what that looks like now. If you were there or have seen the video on our channel, it wasn't that long ago that I planted them. I actually replanted them. We did something different, so it was a spur of the moment decision. But anyways, I will show you those, how we're taking care of them, what we've done. And so until next time, thank you guys so much for logging in and seeing us this morning and watching. Like and subscribe again. Hit that bell icon so you'll get notifications when we put more videos up. Thank you guys.